All right, a little fun here. Words you probably didn't expect to find in the same sentence. Mitt Romney and secret Twitter account. Slate over the weekend found an account under the nom de Twitter, Pierre Delecto, and noticed some strange overlap with the Romney family. A reporter for The Atlantic then asked Romney, "Is this you?" "C'est moi," Romney responded. Now, Romney says he used the secret Twitter account to lurk and to keep tabs on the political mood. The internet, as the internet tends to do, is having a lot of fun now at the senator's expense. From a friend of the show, Matt Visor of The Washington Post, Pierre Delecto, at your service. Romney on horseback there. Pierre Delecto, of course, follows Mr. Visor on Twitter. And this one from John Kerry, the former Massachusetts senator. Remember, Romney was once the Massachusetts governor. Touché, Senator Romney, j'approuve. If you know your history, Senator Kerry had his own issues with being French back in the day.
Sure did.
Mitt Romney, secret Twitter account.
You know, I just love that he was using it to sort of sound off on editorials that were critical of him. He would do anonymous replies about, just because I don't agree with you on everything doesn't mean I'm a bad guy. And replying to Soledad O'Brien, being like, you're just being unfair. And just to use it anonymously. It's also sort of become a little bit of a status symbol if his anonymous account was following you. I don't have that, but it was interesting seeing people share around if they had been followed by him.
I mean, think about it. This is by far the most racy, craziest thing that Romney has ever done. And it's fascinating, it's interesting, but it's I mean, the fact that that is where he is and that's what this represents tells you something about Mitt Romney.
It's a reminder of a simpler time, or what could have been a simpler time in Washington.
Is it a simpler time? I don't know. So to your point about how Pierre Delecto was using this to defend its actual owner, Mitt Romney, the Daily Caller says Romney says America is unreliable ally after Trump pulls troops out of and Britt Hume tweeted, some might say Romney is too, meaning unreliable ally. Then Pierre Delecto, loyal to principle, Trump's loyalty to party. Right, Britt?
Yeah, well, I mean, stepping back a little bit, I mean, I think there's a lot of speculation about the type of senator Mitt Romney would be. I had a lot of Republican senators telling me we're worried that he's actually going to hate the Senate. He's been this big executive, big governor for some time. But the interviews like the ones that he did with The Atlantic and the way that he engages with a lot of us in the hallways of the Capitol shows he does enjoy having that platform. He does actually enjoy the Senate more than we thought he would.
And he's going to be a very important voice if there's a House impeachment and it moves over to the
Senate.
He already is. We'll see what happens there.
Well, an escalating feud featuring a 2020 Democrat and member of Congress and the candidate who lost in 2016, Tulsi Gabbard, striking back at comments made by Hillary Clinton. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Sandra Smith.
I'm John Scott in for Bill Hemmer. The battle lines drawn back in 2016. That is when Tulsi Gabbard endorsed Bernie Sanders over the eventual nominee, Hillary. Well, fast forward to now, and a heated war of words is underway. The Hawaii Congresswoman releasing a defiant new video after Clinton implied she is a Russian asset.
But if they can falsely portray me as a traitor, then they can do it to anyone. And in fact, that's exactly the message that they want to get across to you. That if you stand up against Hillary and the party power brokers, if you stand up to the rich and powerful elite and the war machine, they will destroy you and discredit your message. But here is the truth. They will not intimidate us. They will not silence us.
More on this now from Peter Ducey. He's live in Des Moines, Iowa. Peter.
John, Tulsi Gabbard is here in Iowa undercutting Clinton's main claim. Not just that Gabbard is some sort of a Russian asset being groomed to run in the election, but that she is a Russian, that she's being groomed by the Russians to run as a third party to help President Trump.
Ever consider running as a third-party candidate?
I have said over and over, the answer is no. And I encourage you to look at what I've already said. Thank you, guys.
And Hillary Clinton has not joined the primary like Gabbard challenged her to do on Friday, but she is still talking about Russia wanting to help President Trump. This time by copy-pasting part of a profanity-laced letter that originally appeared in a sketch on the Jimmy Kimmel Show, which tries to parody a recent letter from President Trump to Turkish President Erdogan by swapping in references to the Cuban Missile Crisis and having the letter be from JFK to Khrushchev. But Democrats hoping to succeed Clinton as their party's nominee don't seem to be laughing at any of this. And they seem particularly unimpressed with Clinton's accusations about Gabbard.
I'd prefer to have the conversation be about policy, about what we're going to do, and about how American lives are going to be different. When it comes to any of my Democratic competitors, that's my focus, making sure that we make very clear the differences, and there are very real differences among us, and making it clear to voters what their choices are. That's where I'd like the focus to be.
Gabbard and Clinton could have hashed some of this out face-to-face this week at a Fortune magazine event saluting powerful women, but Clinton has now backed out of this event that they were both scheduled to appear at. One of her aides told Slate magazine that Clinton just didn't want to be on a bill with the former DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, but Nielsen never snapped back at Clinton the way Gabbard just did. So we'll see if anything else comes of that.
Interesting times. Peter Ducey. Peter, thank you.
Please pay attention to this one. Tomorrow, acting U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Bill Taylor, will meet with lawmakers. It is arguably the highlight of more than half a dozen impeachment-related interviews this week. But one name not on that list, Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal lawyer. This man has become central to the investigation, with multiple lawmakers calling for him to testify about his role in trying to convince Ukraine to get dirt on Joe Biden and his family. But a new NBC News investigation reveals that Giuliani's questionable business dealings extend far beyond Ukraine. It is all part of this confusing fence he straddles, part as a private citizen and security consultant, and part as the president's attorney and his hand-picked representative overseas. Take a look at this. Before and during the Trump presidency, Giuliani has dealt with officials and clients from Ukraine, Qatar, Turkey, Argentina, Romania, Peru, Chile, and Iran. And it is not always clear if he's there on behalf of himself or the President of the United States. Joining me now to weigh in, former U.S. Attorney and professor at the University of Alabama School of Law, Joyce Vance. Joyce, to the average person out there, explain why this is so concerning.
It's deeply concerning, Stephanie, even though at first blush it may not look that way, because it goes to the very heart of how our government conducts the nation's business. We expect that our foreign policy should be serving the best interests of the American people. Here we see how when you have rogue actors, people who aren't folks who are officially employed by state, people who haven't taken an oath of office, people who aren't cabined by ethics laws that other employees have to conform with. We see how it's possible for a president to use foreign policy to perpetuate his own personal interests, to seek assistance in a foreign election, rather than serving the interests of the country. So that's what's at stake here.
Until now, we've heard from a number of people who testified that the president was directing them to work with Rudy Giuliani. The New York Times is now reporting that the Justice Department is distancing themselves from Giuliani. How significant is that?
It's very difficult to know what to make of this. When you just look at the raw facts, it takes some untangling to try to figure out whether the president is deliberately using Giuliani or whether Giuliani has come to him with a series of deals. But as you say, we know that at least as far as Ukraine goes, the president gave orders that people had to go through Giuliani before decisions could be made about important steps like an American president meeting with a new Ukrainian president. So that speaks for itself. This issue with DOJ, I think, is developing fast. We do know that the Southern District of New York briefed the new Attorney General Barr, on its investigation into the two gentlemen connected to Giuliani, who are now under indictment. We don't know the specifics of those briefings or how detailed they were, but yesterday we learned that the head of the criminal division said that he would not have taken meetings with Giuliani had he been in the loop on that investigation, apparently leaving us to believe that the criminal division doesn't know what's going on in the Southern District of New York and doesn't know what the Attorney General knows.
Well, that just means there's more questions. The question is, who and when will we get answers?
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.
Of these wars, it threatens the military aspect of the deep state as much as anything else Trump is doing with the other realms contained within the deep state or the Washington establishment. or what have you. And the military people in this deep state have really been brilliant. They know that the American people, for the most part, in a vast majority, instinctively support the troops. They know the American people instinctively adore and admire and support the troops. It's a volunteer force. They lay their lives on the line the moment they volunteer to join. And so the people running the deep state military aspect of the Washington establishment have been taking advantage of this for longer than we can count it. When you stop to think about this, is what Codvia's piece did for me. When you stop and think about it, it becomes even more outrageous. They count on us loving our soldiers, because we do. They count on us loving our country, because we do. And they count on most of us to unilaterally support the military, because we do. They even count on our Christianity as an aspect of promulgating and promoting certain aspects of foreign policy. The belief in Christianity that Israel, for example, is sacred. They take advantage of that, too. I mean, it's stunning when you stop to think about it. And they have used all of these good characteristics. They have used all of these really admirable traits that the American population have to prop up the military complex. The reason why it's surfacing now is Trump. Trump is exposing all of this. I can imagine some of you say, wait a minute, Rush, you've been one of the biggest advocates in the military. Yeah, that's right, I have, for exactly these reasons that I have given you. But now, all of a sudden, here come these left-wing generals, and it's not new. But now we've got these left-wing generals popping up like McRaven. William McRaven writes a New York Times op-ed. It's time for a new person in the Oval Office. Republican, Democrat, or Independent, the sooner the better. Now he's joined the call for impeachment. He even advocated a coup, if necessary, in this New York Times piece. Now, McRaven is well known to those of us who study well-known military people. He's a well-known uber leftist in the United States military. You want to talk about a conflict, for me, that is a gigantic conflict. But as you know, we have two kinds of generals, two kinds of people in the military. We got warrior generals, we got political generals. McRaven's a political general in his current iteration. But these people are making it clear, folks, elections, if they don't go the way they want them, they're going to overturn them. And they think they're perfectly entitled to. That's the thing. These people with John Brennan and Clapper and all the rest, Hillary Clinton, who ran this operation while in cahoots with Russia,